need to make the announcement. So, Disneyland is coming. Disney World,
Disneyland
is coming to Abu Dhabi.
Disneyland Abu Dhabi is a coming.
And it's coming to Yas Island, where we work.
Where you live very close to.
I live very close to.
Go buckle in for your rent.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I should have bought before this announcement.
Yeah,
but she didn't have the money. So it's fine.
We
didn't have the cashish.
Psychic eye. So yes, very, very, very big news.
Hi everyone. Today on Culture Bites, we are going to be talking about the Arab films at Cannes.
And the big news, Disneyland coming to Abu Dhabi.
I'm Enas and Farah, coming to you from the National News.
And I'm Farah Andrews. Hi.
Hi, I got off a plane at 4 a.m.
Whoa, she's here. She's awake.
We're just going diving straight.
She has landed. And you haven't peeked behind the curtain. You haven't even really started work yet. You have landed. You've just walked straight into the studio.
Yeah.
Do you know what we're talking about today?
We'll find out.
Can I hold your hand?
Maybe I need to. I did do that thing when you're on a plane and you kind of don't realise you're nodding off. Have you done that?
I sleep.
Yeah, you sleep everywhere. I don't sleep on planes very well. And
do you think it's because you're tall?
Yeah, it's super uncomfortable. Like, I was meant for first class.
So was I.
You don't need it. I need it. No, so I was like, doing that thing where you nod off and then just like kind of waking myself up dribbling, which is very attractive.
Were you alone? Did you have a stranger beside you?
It was a fully booked flight, Farah.
Tucking your little shoulder onto the stranger beside you.
I had this very sweet man next to me. But yeah, he obviously was not fazed by me dribbling on myself. It's all good. Look at her.
She's sleeping well. We will not spend too much time talking about air travel because this is an arts and culture podcast. But when you take a plane, are you aisle? Are you window? Where are you sitting?
This is the thing. I wish I could do I genuinely like sitting in the aisle because legs stretch and I can just get up and go to the toilet, which I probably need in any amount of flight about 5 times.
Yeah.
But I do love watching lift off, take off and landing. I love that. I love watching it from a window. So if I get a window seat, it's actually quite nice. It's I like that, the drama. What about yourself?
Oh, I am tucked away in the window. Eye mask on. I kind of forget that there's any drama outside of the plane. I take a little Panadol night, eye mask on, I'm asleep. I have been known to fall asleep before takeoff and wake up upon landing.
Oh, stop.
That's for a UK flight, 7 hours.
This is a very, very impressive. I think it's a superpower.
I would put it on my CV.
Yeah.
I'm not using my CV at the moment for obvious reasons, but it would be on my CV.
I'm so jealous. I'm the worst person on a flight. As soon as there's turbulence, I'm not a fan of turbulence.
I don't stress until I see the air crew.
Stressing.
If they sit down, I'm like, oh, this is serious.
Yeah. We had that on the flight coming in.
Did you?
Yeah, the air crew all sat down. They were like, and it kind of it was a bit jolty, and they're like, actually, guys.
That's right, serious.
Apparently, it's going to get worse, turbulence.
Yeah, we did a really interesting story on that. That's for the other part of my job where I worry about travel. There's a really good story on the National about why turbulence is getting worse. Spoiler alert: climate change.
Yeah, that it doesn't make me feel good about travel. It's I just really hate
You
turbulence.
can travel nomadically, drive more.
I'm not that scared of
train
travelling.
journeys. I think a lot about train journeys.
I do like a train. Yeah. Anyway.
But let us move away from train travel, but travel nonetheless to the south of France, where the Cannes Film Festival is currently taking place. We're recording this on Tuesday morning. When it comes out on Thursday, the festival will be well underway. It starts today on the 12th, so by Thursday, plenty of films will have premiered. But yeah, it's a big one.
There's a big one, and I know we have done an article on this already, so it's up on the National.
Yes.
I did read it.
There is a lot to talk about the Cannes Film Festival. I think the main kind of headlines every year are the standing ovations.
Yes. I watched Maria on I got a standing ovation.
multiple minutes. Sometimes they're like 10 minutes. I'm like, honestly, that's like, you go to the gym, like, imagine standing there clapping for 10 minutes. Oh, no.
I do find it's a lot of clapping.
It's so much.
Yeah.
Have you ever clapped anything for 10 minutes? No.
I think it must kind of like go in a wave when they do that. But
Surely it gets embarrassing
yeah.
for both the clapper and the clappy.
The clappy. There's one on here that I do really want to see because I remember, I mean, this is how long I've been a journalist for, but the Gaza-born twins who are directors.
Okay, yeah, you've won to skip a few ahead.
I've won to skip a few ahead.
Let's talk about films from this region
Yes.
that are showing at the festival. Because there are so many films showing, we can't talk about them all. And there are multiple competitions that take place at Cannes. And then when they get the kind of like big recognition, that's when a film is kind of like, oh yeah, that is going to go award season, gangbusters.
Yes.
So let's talk.
Do we think any of the Arab films were? So, okay, I'm going to talk about this Arabic film.
Please do.
So it's called Once Upon a Time in Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
It's a revenge thriller and it's directed by these Gaza-born twins.
Ah.
Now, I just remember vividly doing, I think I did a story for them in a previous job at the BBC.
Oh, previous job.
Tarzan and Arab Nasser are the names of the two twins. And they're kind of like these like wild characters.
Can I ask a question
Yeah.
about the name Tarzan?
It was not given to him by birth, though.
Okay. I was going to say, I did not even know that was like
Tarzan.
Okay, so that's not. And so he's a wild character.
Yeah, they're like these like kind
by
of
self-appointed name.
Yeah, they're these kind of, they've been doing this for a really long time. Because I remember when we did the story, it was a long time ago. And I just remember thinking, wow, there's like these two characters that are Palestinian who are directing films. And there was they are well known for a romantic drama called Gaza-born, which was in 2020. They have been doing this for a really long time though. Once Upon a Time in Gaza.
2020 doesn't feel like that long ago.
No, they've been in the game for much earlier than that. That was just like one of their well-known films. They were making shorts and working with like grassroots communities for quite some time. Anyway, this Once Upon a Time in Gaza, it tells the story of Yahya and Osama, who are friends who sell drugs out of a falafel store.
Okay, I'm invested.
Yeah, right? And
a revenge thriller.
And so they become locked in crosshairs of a corrupt policeman after Osama is murdered. Dun, dun, dun. And Yahya sets out for revenge. Yahya is the Arabic name for John.
Is it? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, it's a biblical name.
Biblical name.
I am quite excited to see this film. I didn't know that they had anything at the Cannes Film Festival this year. So it's really good to see that they are still doing their thing after.
Bigger and bigger.
I haven't seen their names, I'm not going to lie. It's so long since I did that story.
Oh, so you've come in here today, you've picked up your script and you're thrilled.
I'm absolutely thrilled. And it was one that you if you do see these two directors, I think they both have like quite wild long hair. We should do a piece on them.
We might have. Another film I want to talk about is Eagles of the Republic, which is a film by Tarik Saleh, a Swedish-Egyptian filmmaker. This film is up for the very prestigious Palme d'Or. That is the big prize.
That's
Golden
the
Palm.
big prize, right? That's like, but it's European. It's like big European prize, right? Or is it not?
I don't know if it's just European.
Oh, okay.
I might be wrong about that. That might be a gap in my Cannes knowledge, but it's
it's
one
a
of the
prize at Cannes.
At Cannes, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. So in Cannes they have this like special prize.
They run awards throughout the event.
Got you.
And then they'll have films that are in like consideration for the different awards, and then in different categories. Yeah, throughout the event. And they have like kind of like mini sections and kind of like sort of like mini festivals within the festival. It's layered. But Eagles of the Republic is another thriller. It's a political thriller that revolves around a fictional Egyptian character called George al-Nabawi, who falls into public disgrace. On the verge of losing everything, he finds himself faced with a dangerous decision to accept an offer he can't refuse. So that film is up for like big recognition. When you see a film poster,
yeah,
if you can kind of picture like a kind of like crescent logo or like kind of leaf logo, that means it's won like certain awards at Cannes.
That's what you've got to look out for. I really do like out of all of the kind of like awards, I think I probably respect Cannes the most.
Cannes kind of kicks off the calendar of film festivals and film conversation for the next award season. It's not the only, because obviously there are so many really, really prestigious film festivals.
Yeah.
There's Venice, there's Berlin, there's Toronto, and then here in the region we've started getting so much bigger. We've got Refaei, we've got Amman. So there are so many, and a lot of these films will show at multiple film festivals. But it's just a really good platform for filmmakers, often indie filmmakers as well, to kind of get seen and picked up. And when you've kind of got a theatre full of some of the biggest names in the film industry and they're coming and they're watching your film, and that's where a lot of distribution is picked up.
Amazing.
And we've spoken about that in the past, how important it is to kind of have
a distributor,
big distributors showing your film in like big markets, whether that's the US, parts of Europe, here in the Middle East. I think like as I've got older, maybe it's a sign of my age, I've just like turned away more from Hollywood, and I'm just interested in like indie films that are coming out from different regions. Like I love when I watch a film and I feel like I've learned about a culture. Yeah.
Like Goodbye Julia, like last year when I was talking about the Sudanese film, there's actually, I think it's still on Netflix if you haven't seen it. I think that was also shown at Cannes.
I'm a cinematic Jekyll and Hyde. I'm either, I want like a good film that kind of challenges my perception of things.
Or Wicked.
Or I want something that's like on Netflix and I don't have to think about.
Something with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, that's why I like Christmas films. Do you want to talk about any of the other films that have caught your eye?
So there's Aisha Can't Fly Away, which is another thriller.
Woo, a triple thriller.
What's your go-to genre?
I mean,
we know this. Is it romance?
Yeah. So either I love indie romances, the ones that are kind of like, of course. Okay. But then I also love a popcorn romance. So yeah. I do not like scary
horror
films.
Yeah, I'm a thriller girly or an action.
Yeah, I did know.
I know. Yeah, I just like the drama.
I think next week we'll have to talk about Mission Impossible because that's.
I'm so excited. Okay, so Aisha Can't Fly Away is an Egyptian thriller by Murad Mustafa. It's his debut feature film, which has been selected for the Un Certain Regard section. It tells the story of a Sudanese immigrant navigating a dangerous life in the underbelly of Cairo's Ain Shams neighbourhood. Notorious neighbourhood. I learned about that bit in my recent trip to Cairo.
Fresh from Cairo.
Yeah, the film explores a world where the authorities' indifference to violent tensions between Egyptians and various African nationalities has allowed gangs to seize control. And then this situation quickly turns sour after one of them offers Aisha security in exchange for a favour.
You've really brought that to life.
I really did.
Thank you.
And she's a broadcast journalist. No, so I can't wait to see this film. I think we did a review of this, or we've had it on our website. It's another one that I've definitely clocked eyes with before. But
a key thing about the films that are shown at these festivals is they're kind of like names that you have to bookmark for a little while because they often like not 100% across the board, but they're often they're not shown on like general release for a wee while. But then sometimes they're also just that is the premiere. So they it's not only indie films that are shown. Like, there'll be like big films that have the premiere at Cannes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this. Any others that have
caught my eye? We have got the last one I'd say is I'm Glad You're Dead Now. This is a film. It's a savage name. It's a film screening in the short films competition.
Nice.
The directorial debut of Palestinian actor Tarik Bahum. It tells the story of two brothers who return to an island from their childhood where long-buried secrets resurface, forcing them to face a haunting past that ties them together.
Oh, that's interesting.
So there's lots of like themes of family and history and...
Nadine Lebke's most recent film was like set on this island, which was quite eerie. Those heebie-jeebies, those ones.
I like that turn of phrase.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know why that scares me. The isolation scares me more than the underbelly of Cairo.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Okay, you're that person too. Okay, great. We're city
That's
people.
That's probably quite a good personality barometer, isn't it?
Some people love being like in these isolated places. I think my imagination is a little more crazy.
I absolutely love being by myself, do not get me wrong, but not that isolated.
Not that isolated. I like having neighbours.
Yeah. We're back.
And we are back with probably the biggest news ever. As I was honestly ever, as I was coming in, I was picking up my luggage at 4:00 in the morning. I could see on the conveyor belts, because this announcement was made while I was away.
Was it?
Yeah. And so on the conveyor belts was like,
Enas, you've slept on Disney?
No, Disney was while I was in Cairo. It came out while I was in Egypt.
Hello, welcome back. The world has changed.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi has changed.
We need to make the announcement. So, Disneyland is coming. Disney World,
Disneyland
is coming to Abu Dhabi.
Disneyland Abu Dhabi is a coming.
And it's coming to Yas Island, where we work.
Where you live very close to.
I live very close to.
Go buckle in for your rent.
Oh, God. I should have bought before this announcement.
Yeah,
but she didn't have the money. So it's fine. We didn't have the cashish.
Psychic eye. So yes, very, very, very big news. Disney has announced that it is opening its first international Disney resort destination, and that is going to be here in Abu Dhabi, as you said. My week last week was very Disney themed. I will not lie to you.
What do we know about it? Do we know that if it's going to be all indoor? Is it going to be outy doorsies? Is it going to be like Legoland or Warner Brothers?
Thank you so much for coming to me with my new specialist subject. We don't know very much.
Okay.
I don't think that is because they aren't saying it. I think it's because it doesn't exist yet as a concept. Okay. So Disney execs have. It's been announced. It's been announced with DCT Abu Dhabi, and it's being built here by Morale. And so everything is going to be run and controlled by Morale with Disney input.
Yeah.
So we know that.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be on Yas.
Where on Yas?
That we do not know for sure.
Okay.
I have a theory because I've spent quite a lot of time looking at satellite footage.
You're just looking at satellite footage.
I've been on Google Maps like, where is there a space big enough on Yas? I think it's going to be behind Yas North towards Sadia Island.
Oh, down there.
Yeah, because that's where there's a lot of space.
Okay.
On our side of Yas, over kind of near Yas Bay for the UAE local among listeners, there is another island that is empty, that could be, but then it wouldn't be Yas. It's a different island, so I don't think that's where it's going to be.
I think I heard a rumour about what was happening on that island.
Then you don't think it's there?
Yeah, I don't think it's there.
So that's where we think. So we don't know exactly where, but we think there. What else do we know? We know it's going to be a waterfront resort. It's going to be the first waterfront Disney. So that then does tie in with our my Yas North theory. We know Disney has said it's going to be their most high-tech Disney to date and very immersive. We know that.
Fun.
They have said that there'll be accommodation and resorts. So we can assume at least a Disney hotel. Probably more. I'm just thinking about the size of this. It's enormous.
Because when they build, like, have you ever done Disney?
Oh, have I done Disney?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Yeah, I have.
So, I mean, my parents took me to Disneyland when I was about 14, 15. I was kind of on the cusp.
Yeah.
You know? I swore that if my children wanted to do Disney, they could do it with their auntie or uncle. I said, if you want to do Disney, you can go with Uncle Leif or Auntie Lamise, which my sister was quite excited about. And now here we are. Disney has come to me.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to go anywhere. I've been very, very lucky. I have gone to Disney a few times. I went as a child with my family. That was pretty special. I was 10, so I was within like the Disney age.
Yeah.
And then I have been to Orlando twice more on press trips, and that is a very immersive experience. You can't leave a Disney press trip without Disney magic being embedded within you. We were completely spoiled. We're taken to the front on every ride. That kind of ruined it for me, really, because now I don't want to go and queue at Disney.
You just get one of those fast passes.
Yeah, go around.
You'll
with
be that guy.
The Disney VIP like Kim Kardashian has. I'm trying to think of what else we know about it that I can tell you. Because there are things that we know.
Okay, do we know?
I don't even need the script for this. This is just all within my head. We have we've spoken to a few experts about kind of what it's going to mean for Abu Dhabi, for what it's going to mean for the UAE more broadly, and even the Middle East. So some theme park experts that we've spoken to estimate that it'll bring 20,000 jobs to Abu Dhabi in the construction phase, and then up to 10,000 jobs when it's built.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder if they need a journalist.
I know. That's what I was like, hi, Disney.
So, and then will there be kind of, I know, like Aladdin was like the big, like kind of Middle Eastern themed film. Do we think there's going to be a homage?
Yeah, so Bob Eisner, who is Disney's CEO, has said that the park will be distinctly Emirati, which I think is a nice line. And so we had a little think about what that could possibly mean. You've mentioned Aladdin. That is, so it's set in the fictional Arab kingdom of Agrabah, and it's based on 1001 Nights of good Arabic law. And at Disney, there's a precedent there, because at Disney World, Orlando, and in Japan and Disneyland Paris, there are already Aladdin rides. There's a magic carpet ride for younger children. And there's in Tokyo, there's like a whole Aladdin land. There's basically an Agrabah. So I think that we'll kind of see influences from that here, but maybe go a bit bigger with it.
And maybe they'll go a bit more authentic. Like, I'm not saying, I think Aladdin still, like, as a child, there were still some things that maybe weren't totally
One of our colleagues was saying
right.
that he wrote to Disney as a young boy to talk about how problematic parts of Aladdin were, which I loved.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well done, him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were parts of it that were a bit problematic. But hopefully that this will be like a good excuse. And I do think that the new Aladdin, they made a lot more effort
and kind
to
of
make sure that it wasn't, you know, they weren't retreading the same kind of like mistakes.
Yeah.
So maybe this is another way.
Another opportunity, I think we can see kind of like regional inspiration within the park. Obviously, Disney now owns Marvel. And so there are Marvel cinematic campuses at different Disney parks, in those campuses, you can go and meet your favorite Marvel characters. And Moon Knight, the Batman-style anti-hero who draws his power from the gods of ancient Egypt, is one such character who has been welcomed into the hallowed halls of the
Disney
Marvel campuses at Disney theme parks. So we could see that.
We have got a Marvel section, am I right, in Warner Brothers already?
No, that would be DC.
Oh, I forget that they're two comics.
Yeah.
I just thought they're both Batman.
And then another possibility, so Mickey in Arabia is one of the earliest Disney outputs. Again, there are some pretty problematic themes within that, but we could see some nice updates within the park. We could see like Mickey embracing parts of this region through apparel and also things that he's getting up to.
Yeah.
Star Wars, also owned by Disney. So much of it has been filmed here in Abu Dhabi. I think we can be pretty confident that we're going to see some Star Wars.
I think Star Wars in general, like, it's quite like Middle East friendly.
Yeah, and then finally, at some of the parks around the world, I believe Shanghai, there is a made for the park character. And so perhaps we'll see like a little character that's just for Disneyland Abu Dhabi.
Oh, nice.
But let's just very briefly touch on timeframes, because that's not short. So they've said that the park is still in the kind of concept phase. So that'll be 1 to 2 years. And then from there, it'll be 4 to 6 years.
Okay, so it's quite some time.
So quickest we're going to get it is 5 years, 2030. If it's the longer end of that time frame, 8 years, 2033. So it's a wee minute off.
Okay. So it's a wee minute off.
One other thing that I want to talk about very briefly.
Yeah.
Because, yes, Disney fever has got all of us. But something very interesting that a lot of our theme park experts spoke to us about was the fact that Universal will not let Disney come alone.
What do you mean by that?
So where there are big Disney resorts, there is often a Universal. So Orlando, California. The Universal is currently building a resort in the UK, in Bedford. So they're busy.
Really?
Yeah. So they're busy in the UK at the moment, but a couple of the theme park experts that we spoke to sort of said no, like they will be looking at this region very, very closely now that Disney has made this enormous announcement. Possibilities of location, Dubai. There was going to be a Universal Dubai, but in the economic crisis of like 2008, 2009, it folded. So then that's why that hasn't happened. Could that be revitalized? Perhaps we can get the Disney Dubai that we've long wanted. There's Universal Dubai that we've long wanted. And there's also been rumours of a Universal in Delhi in India. So that could also be one. But then somebody else that we spoke to have said that Saudi will want a slice of this action. Saudi Arabia will want some in on the big global theme parks. They are opening Six Flags, which is the huge American theme park chain. But that isn't so much of a kind of like cinematic universe.
Yeah.
So perhaps we'll see a Universal Riyadh or Jeddah.
There's
watch this space for that announcement because that's huge. And that would mean bringing over, it's quite, there is some hand-in-hand content there with Warner Brothers. So we would kind of potentially see like the Harry Potter worlds then, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow. So it's all booming.
It's huge. It's very big news. It is. And without, this is me being completely serious. I think it is incredible for Abu Dhabi. This like injection of investment, the jobs, tourism is going to be huge. It's going to be one of the biggest things that could have happened to Abu Dhabi for tourism, particularly for families. I read a statistic that 1/3 of the world's population lives within 4 hours flight of Abu Dhabi. And if you think about how many people travel to go to Disney,
everyone's going to come here.
It's going,
Everyone's going to come
absolutely enormous.
here.
Millions, 15 million, more than 15 million people went to Disneyland Tokyo last year. So that's,
Wow.
Yeah.
And if there's water, like, and you're like, oh, it's a bit sad in England.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, go to a water Disney
so
park.
many of my friends, they were like, well, that's an easier, better flight than going to Orlando or going to California from the UK. Get a holiday in the UAE, go to Disneyland for the day.
And it's like culturally interesting.
Yeah. Especially if they've done Paris. So
Yeah.
Very big, very, very big news for this country.
Very big. Well, congratulations to Abu Dhabi. I think
well
amazing.
Done. Well done,
really
Abu Dhabi.
wish I'd bought a property in the last year, and let's move forward.
Yeah, I'm annoyed because I got the heads up about this a bit earlier, and I'm like, why did I not do anything with that apart from like write a story?
You know what? We live and learn, babe. We can't just be those savvy investors out all the time. Recommendations for this week.
Would you like to go first?
Yes, I will. Yes, of course I will. As we all know, I just got off a flight from Cairo. I am going to recommend that everyone gets on a flight to Cairo.
It's a big recommendation this week.
And you go to GEM, which is what the cool kids call it. GEM.
I know, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's the Grand Egyptian Museum. It's on a soft opening at the moment. So the Tutankhamun section, there's a section for the Tutankhamun section, has not been opened.
Oh.
But the rest of the gallery spaces, which are these incredible tiered gallery spaces, that you walk up these stairs, and at the top of each of the stairs you see the pyramids of Giza. Like, it's incredible architecture. The history in that country is just it's seeping out. It's delightful. And it's so, I think like sometimes it was a lot for me to get my head around. I'll give a fun fact.
Please.
Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giza pyramids, around the same age. Oh. What one was doing and what the other was doing. Let's be frank here. Right? It's just incredible. It's wild to really get your head around. And people were saying, when I was going around, like one of our reporters from the National, shout out to Kamal and Fatih, who showed me the best time in Cairo. But they were saying that, a lot of the sculptures, that they had dates on them. So they're like, oh yeah, like they thought they were these dates. But then they realised the more they find these artefacts, they weren't just making new artefacts the next time a king needed to tomb kitted out. They were just scrubbing the dates out and putting the new date on. So they think that some of these artifacts could be so much older than what they're dated as. So the kind of like history around Egypt is just mind-blowing. But definitely get yourself to the Grand Egyptian Museum. It will be opened fully by the summer.
Yeah, July is the penned-in opening date for that museum.
Actual date. I mean, it was busy considering it was a soft opening, and this space is stunning, very similar to the Louvre, where you have these kind of like canopy, a canopy of to keep the cool in.
Oh, okay.
So it's really lovely design.
It's very high on my list of institutions that I want to visit.
Should we go together?
I'd absolutely love that.
Next week. I'm down.
I'm going when it's fully open. I want to go see the Tutankhamun section.
Yeah. What's your recommendation?
It's a bit different to yours. There's a journalist, DJ presenter that used to live here in the UAE called Simone Heng, and she has written a book called Let's Talk About Loneliness, where in the book she talks a lot about especially when you live away from home and you live like a bit nomadically, or you live as an expat or a migrant or an immigrant, and how to handle and tackle loneliness. And I just thought we've written a feature on it this week. I have not read the whole book, but I have read some pretty chunky chapters. There's one on life as a nomad, which I really enjoyed, and there was a lot that I really resonated in there, and her research is fantastic. And it ties in nicely that this year is the year of community here in the UAE.
Oh, sweet.
And so there's like obviously huge efforts to kind of make sure that people have those communities around them and kind of having your people, your village. Because
it does take time. Like for anyone who's just moved here, like it took me a few years really to really feel like I like was comfortable. So don't be harsh on yourself. If you haven't got those best buddies and you've just moved here, don't be harsh on yourself. It's okay. They'll find you.
Yeah, and they will. And books like this can be such a valuable resource for people that are feeling a bit isolated. So I thought that was a really nice book and one to shout out.
Lovely. So say it one more time in case people didn't get it.
Let's Talk About Loneliness by Simone Heng.
Lovely. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode and you want to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The National News.
And be sure to follow at The National Arts on Instagram and catch new episodes of Culture Bites every Thursday.
Bye.